Welcome to Mindfulness and Metamorphosis. This realm is a place of healing and transformation, of leaving behind old limiting thoughts and soaring to the heights of our greatest potential. The journey within to access clarity and inspiration so that we can manifest the changes in our lives that we desire. The game is to somehow bring out the best in ourselves and one another, to rise to our highest potential, to enjoy the great unfolding and to express ourselves freely. And yet, almost all of us are carrying limitations based on our past experience and the conclusions we've drawn about ourselves, about people, about the world, based on moments in which people have treated us less than kindly. All of us have experienced disappointment in others, have been hurt. Our gentle inner child, sensitive soul self runs into the coarser energies of people who are ego-dominated and selfish, and just being in this world leads to a certain level of wounding and suffering for us all. Erik Erikson, a developmental psychologist, describes some of the basic stages of development, and one of the first ones upon which everything else is built is this development of basic trust or distrust in cases where the infant isn't met with nurturing attention. Even when we have been met and taken good care of by our parents and adored, we still go out into the world and experience the insensitivity of others as soon as we hit school or preschool. So there's the bullies, and there's the ones that demand attention, and there's those that challenge. And so for the innocent young soul, going out into the world often is an experience of being wounded in some way. Kids can be so mean. They often will pick up on the sensitivity in a bright young one, and out of their own woundedness, bully or attack or make fun of. So many of us have had that sting of shame when our peers criticized us in front of others. And then as we go further in life and go through school, we're evaluated by our performance and our grades, and we evaluate ourselves depending on how popular we feel and whether other people accept us and allow us to join their group. And then as we go through life further and become involved with peers and relationships, there's so many moments when we are not seen and appreciated. Our efforts are misinterpreted. Our words are not understood. We're blamed or shamed. So many experiences in the course of relationships take little chinks out of our sense of self-esteem. We deal with our own behavior and not being pleased with how we perform or how we speak. We always have this evaluator that listens to us and observes us in social situations. And often we have second thoughts or regret how we handled a particular situation. So many people look back on their relationships with a woulda, coulda, shoulda view and think about ways they may have handled it differently that might have led to more favorable outcomes. This is human nature, to reflect back on our life and look for ways to improve things. So the challenge is to somehow salvage our self-esteem and come to love and appreciate ourselves with our imperfections, even when we have made mistakes, and somehow have an understanding of our own basic goodness and a basic acceptance of our own positive intentions that makes us resilient and allows us to keep moving forward on our journey of exploration and growth. How can we do this? We cannot undo the past. We can't really change that our parent might have been distracted at work or involved with some substance in an addictive pattern that competed with their attention for us. We can't undo the thing that we said that blew up our relationship, or how we acted in a way that drove away our loved ones. That's all water under the bridge. It all brings us to this precious present moment. So while we can't undo any of these past experiences, in the present moment is when we make meaning of them, when we interpret them and draw conclusions about ourselves and the world, and make commitments and set intentions of how we wish to behave in the future. So it's useful to think of life as an evolutionary journey, and every chapter, every situation, all the challenges and difficulties are opportunities for us to cultivate and bring forth our best qualities, like compassion, patience, assertiveness, and loving kindness. So when we look at our life and have regrets about how we handled the situation, or feel disappointed in how someone else treated us, where our power lies is in how we make meaning of it. We cannot change exactly what happened, but we can change the story we tell ourselves and others about it. And I suggest that this story of our life that we tell start with gratitude. I'm encouraging each of us to recognize the sheer blessing and magic of being alive, regardless of our disappointments, just awakening each day, being able to see the colors in the world and feel the fresh air blowing through the trees, and to eat delicious food, to hug our loved ones, to have an opportunity to express ourselves. So many blessings are built in to being alive. And I think that's a good foundation to start from as we work on building our self-esteem and self-acceptance. And while it may be difficult to find gratitude for painful situations or abuse or neglect, we can find gratitude for the life that we are moving towards in response to having had those experiences. They certainly will inform what is important to each of us. In so many life situations, there's a moment to choose how we make meaning of it, or how we choose to interpret it. For example, there's people who have been neglected, or whose parents weren't available for them, who somehow use that as a motivation to show up as the most attentive and supportive parent that they can be. So even though they didn't receive the kind of parenting they would like, it did help them understand what kind of parent they want to be. When we're in a relationship and we feel mistreated or dishonored by our partner, we can focus on them and get into the blame and shame game, or we can come back to our own inner center and remind ourselves of how we wish to show up in relationship, and use that experience as a motivator to be as impeccable and present and reassuring and supportive as we can be in our relationships. For example, there's many adopted people who feel very well loved and valued by their adopted family, and that is their parents and their family. And they also wonder about the birth mom that gave them up for adoption. And so there's a choice about how they think about that. We could go in the direction of feeling somehow unworthy that our mom gave us up for adoption, or we could shift and focus on the selflessness of the adoptive parents who recognized a child in need and took us in and nurtured us and provided the parenting that that child needed. So we can spin it either way. And I'm suggesting that we dip into the pain, but we use it to inform our view so that we come back to a state of appreciation and gratitude and see challenges as the opportunities to bring out our own best qualities. This recognition of our oneness with the entire creation, the recognition that spirit moves through us, that we are not the authors of our own life, but that the river of life carries us. This insight can be the shortcut to seeing through the illusion of low self-esteem. Thank you for joining me for this episode of Mindfulness and Metamorphosis. May you continue this inner journey of self-reflection, transcending your own defensiveness to see those places that you can tweak your life just a little bit to harness greater ease and joy. Join us next time for a continuation of this inner journey of transformation.